Hi, I'm Tim. This is Selfless Awakening, where I talk about mindfulness, spirituality, the human condition. And if you like what I'm talking about, subscribe, click the little notification to stay up to date, okay? Just wanted to do this video. This is something that's been on my mind a lot. We're a few weeks out from the George Floyd incident, and we're in the middle of one of the most powerful civil rights uprisings that I think the world has ever seen. And it feels like, how can I not talk about it from a metaphysical, zoomed out sort of place and look at it, and so that's kind of where I'm at, and I feel like I have some clarity on the topic now to speak about. So I just wanted to share my thoughts with you all. Okay, here's the idea. I believe that racism is something that lives inside of the egoic structure of an individual. And it also is something that lives inside of the structure of the collective identity, okay? The collective thought body. And the way that we are going to step out of and dissolve racism is going to be not by this inside of the world of form. It's going to be by us detaching from the game altogether. Eckhart Tolle talks about in A New Earth that the awakening is basically an evolution of human consciousness to a point where we're no longer walking around in the world believing that we are these people with stories. Like in the New Earth, I'm not going to be, hey, I'm Tim, I'm a dad, I'm 44, I have a music business, I'm not going to be those labels. I may still have those labels to interact with you with, but I am the awareness behind all of those labels. I'm not white, I'm not black, I'm not a man, I'm not a woman, I'm not anything. I am the awareness behind all of those things that I call myself to be. And when you live inside of that awareness of yourself as non-physical, you're able to greet someone that looks different than you, that talks different from you, that wears different clothes from you, and you're able to look at them without labeling them, without saying, oh, black, white, don't like the way that looks, that sounds weird, that's fine. Like, you're able to turn that off. Boop, just turn it right off. So that when you're in the presence of someone, all you have is the experience of their presence. Now, imagine that world. Imagine the world where we all walk around like that, and we're just so present that I'm not even going to allow a racist thought in my head, because I know I can control my thoughts and I can turn them. Like, I wouldn't even go there. Like, imagine a world like that. And now imagine how far away from that world we are right now. That's how long it's going to take for us to cure racism. We're not going to cure racism by having different labels. Because the reality is this: when someone's born, if their parents have racist thinking, then what happens is they don't even know, but they pass that on to the child. In the first 7 years of life, if you study Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton's work on brainwave states, up to 7 years old, you're in pretty much a full imprint state where anything you hear, anything you see, becomes hardwired into your brain as your operating software. That's the way you think. And so if your parents are dropping little comments, little racist comments that may seem a little, harmless or benign, they're just kind of little, those are getting in there. And that means the next time that person, if that was you, next time that you see someone of color, that in the way that the parent implanted it in your mind, you're going to have that thought. You're going to have the programming that they installed in you. So to cure racism requires us to rewire any thinking that may have been installed with racism. And the way that it comes about in the mind is through the categorization system based out of fear, the way the mind works. Our minds are wired to take things that it's afraid of, remember those things, categorize them, think about all the traits of that thing that you're afraid of, so that should you encounter that thing that you're afraid of again, you're going to run the other way, or you're going to interact differently. Like, that's how racism works in our minds. It's like, imagine this, like if you see a movie with a young black man who did a crime, which is a super stereotype programmed into the mind of the collective consciousness. Then every time you know, and you have no experience with young black men other than seeing a movie where they were portrayed in a violent way. The next time you see a black man, the only impression you have is of that movie. So sure enough, what happens is that racist label is created. And this is from someone who didn't even think a racist thought. They just watched a TV show that triggered a fear response because it saw something to be afraid of, right? So how do we cure that? Like, what's the actual cure for not labeling one another as dangerous anymore, right? That's really the question. And the cure for that is, in my opinion, it's this awakening. It's getting to a place like a true namaste. You know, the light in me salutes the light in you. The awareness in me salutes the awareness in you. It's like when I'm in a place that I'm aware deeper than my thoughts, I'm aware deeper, I can look at you without labeling. I can look at a tree without my mind saying tree. I can just be with you. And when I'm in that place of being, it's pure love. It's pure love. From a place of being, everyone and everything is accepted. Everything is okay. Everyone is here, right? So, just to wrap it up, this is not going to be something that we change right away in our society. Like, it will take us a while to get there. And what I believe what we can do on our part is, it's hyper self-awareness. It's becoming present to, are you having thoughts of separation? Are you labeling someone? Are you near someone that is different than you and deciding to be separate because they're different? Or are you becoming aware of that thinking in your head and choosing different? That's the cure for racism. Every time that we feel that separation tool kick into our brains, what we do is we do the opposite. If you're sitting with someone who's just different, they're just different, then try to interact with them, try to engage. Start making it a goal to interact with people that are different. And if you have a fear response, now, there are some people to be afraid of, regardless of how anybody looks. There's sometimes, and you can read that energetically and know, most of the time, and I mean high 99.9% of the time, when you see someone different, they're not dangerous, they're just different. So what you can do is start practicing, like, hey, this is a person that's in a different culture, different ethnicity. I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to say hi. Like, break out. Teach your kids how to break out. Like, that's how we're going to do it, is by interacting and seeing, wait, I see a lot of me and you. I see a lot of me and you. But it's practice. And this isn't going to happen overnight. But this is the only way, is it's stepping out of the game of labeling. And to step out of the game of labeling, we have to awaken. And to awaken, we have to become present to ourselves as the non-physical self, deep inside, and aware of our thinking. And anytime we have thinking that is old paradigm thinking, we need to become present to it, honor it, look at it, and then release it and move our attention somewhere else. So there we go. Those are my thoughts on racism. I hope that helps and makes sense. Let's do it. Let's keep moving on this topic. It's so beautiful, the change that's happened in society already. So there you go. If you like what I'm talking about, subscribe, click the little notification, and you can see my next video. So have a beautiful day, and stay safe out there with the pandemic. If the pandemic is still happening when you watch this video, be well. Cheers.